Welcome back to All the King's Men. Joining us today, courtesy of Vivid Seats, Isaiah Mustafa. How are you doing today, Isaiah?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I love coming back here. I love talking to you guys. As you know, I probably talk to you guys too much when you're working.
No such thing. And featuring Zach Dooley. How are you doing today, Zach?
Jesse, it's so nice to be back here in the studio with both of you guys.
Yeah.
But great to be back here.
Face to face.
Yeah.
So, Isaiah, you hosted the 2025 NHL Awards show.
Yeah.
It was like many things this year, including the draft, not done in a traditional way. So you were in Florida, in Sunrise?
Yep.
I always get the name of the town wrong.
Yep.
In an empty arena.
Yeah.
Before we get into the details of the awards show, how does that even come about? Like, does somebody reach out to you directly? Do they talk to your people? Like, how do you get tabbed?
This is a good story. So I've been trying to do the NHL Awards since 2012. Like literally, I've been just begging like the NHL, like, hey, come on, and nobody really. I don't even know I was talking to the right person, So
I don't even know who the right person was.
Right, exactly. That's what
I
I'm
was
saying.
emailing
like,
NHL@gmail.com.
Yeah, NHL@gmail.com wasn't going anywhere. I was getting the mailer Damon, whatever. So I was at a game. Oh, I was at the charity game, Luke's charity game, and I met Steve Mayer. I got reconnected with him at the NHL, and he produced a commercial show that I did for TNT way back in 2011, I believe. And we just got reconnected and stuff and started talking about that. And he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I'm doing this for the NHL. And I was like, oh, amazing. I'm like, if you need anything, let me know. I would love to do it. I'd love to work with you guys in any capacity. I would love to be an ambassador for the league. Like, I'm literally going like, whatever you want me to do, I would do it because I love the game, So he was like, oh, I'll keep that in mind. And then sure enough, one day I was driving home and he was like, hey man, what's up? I got this thing. You want to do it? And I was like, well, what is it? And he's NHL Awards. I'm like, yes. Like what? He's like, yeah, but I go, no, yes. Like that's all. Yeah, whatever you want to do, I'll do it. So it worked out, and they flew me out to Sunrise, and like it all happened so fast. It was just like 3 days. Flew me out one day, did the show, flew back the next day.
So for those who didn't see it, it was basically you in an empty arena.
Yeah.
Setting up clips that presumably the league or each team filmed. I don't actually know.
Yeah.
Did you have to sign an NDA? Did you know anything that everybody else didn't know before the awards show aired?
Yeah, I knew a bunch of stuff that people didn't know. And I didn't sign an NDA, but I was told, hey, this is confidential. But yeah. I don't know. That's kind of what I like about the NHL is like, you know better. I mean, you don't have guys like getting crazy and going off about, you just tell somebody don't do it, they don't do it.
They didn't say they were going to send Chris Pronger to your house if you leaked anything.
No. He was definitely mentioned. No, I'm kidding.
Now, in one of the segments, I think it was like the first intro bit, you mentioned that you were a Kings fan.
Yes.
Did you have to clear that with anybody? Because they had little images to go with it. I mean, it was obviously part of the production, but like, did you just sneak that in and force their hand? Or
no. I tried to crowbar it in, but
right.
I asked first. I said, hey, I'm a Kings fan, as you guys know. Do you mind if I lean in that direction? Because that's kind of how I am. And they were like, no, that's fine. Like, so I brought a Byfield jersey to wear just in case, and I brought this bomber that I always wear to the games just in case, which they passed on. So obviously, but they were definitely okay with it. And also when Kopi won his award, I was like, can I? Because they were. Everybody was like, congratulations, Kucherov. And I was like, can I call him Kopi? I mean, because that's what I would call him. Yeah, exactly. And they're like, no, that's great. Yeah, do that. So, and then the guy said, he's like, can you want me to do anything for that? And I go, do whatever you want, the writer. And it's like, oh, a king won the Lady Bing. I'm like, okay. Like, sure. Whatever you want else, I'll say it.
Every year that the awards come and go, I bring up my anthill that I choose to die on, which is I think that there should be more awards.
Okay.
And I think that they should be handled more like the Academy Awards, where the pool of people nominated are the ones who choose the nominees.
Okay.
Before you hand it over to the media.
I can't argue with that. I mean, yeah, I can't argue with that. I see where you're coming from, but I always, for me, I felt like the guys don't necessarily like the attention.
Sure.
You know, I think that's maybe I don't know how they would feel about it, but I feel like this format fits that mold because, you know, even though it's more of like a prank kind of show, it fits the mold of you get to see them in their true element, how they really are around family and friends, and then you get their personality a little bit more than this guy walking up on stage with a suit and just going, "Thanks, guys," and then walking off.
Here's a little behind the scenes for you.
Yeah.
So I was in the AHL, obviously first. The AHL, the voting is 1/3 players, 1/3 coaches, 1/3 media.
Oh, that's cool.
So everybody gets a say. Like each team gets 3 submissions, 1 from their players, 1 from their coaches, 1 from, usually it's 1 media member, but it can be a pool of like local media. So it's straight up down the middle, those 3, which is pretty cool. Gets kind of the best of both worlds.
I always figured, because like what we have right now, and I mean, zero disrespect to Darcy Kemper for this, but like he was a finalist for the Vezina. But then they released the voting, and you realize that I think he had 33 points or something, which technically made him third.
Yeah.
But not really. Yeah. Like, you know, fourth was very, very close.
What do you mean not really? He was third.
Because first and second were way at like...
Had a great year.
So anyway, my thought was always let the players from each division vote anonymously. You can't vote for anybody on your team. You vote for guys in your division, and then you wind up with 4 actual finalists, 1 from each division, and then you hand it over to the media, and you go, okay, here's your finalists. You go vote. But that's how
here's a problem with that, though.
Yeah.
What if 1 and 2 are in the same division? Then it's like you have a super worthy winner, 3 dudes who shouldn't be there, and 1 dude who's excluded.
Then you have 3 dudes who shouldn't be there. I got no problem with it. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, listen.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, all any of us care about is one award, and that's the Stanley Cup,
right?
Which we find ourselves in the middle of.
Right.
I got one more question. On
yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Did you go to the elbow room when you were in Florida?
No.
Didn't go?
No, I didn't go to the elbow room.
What is the elbow room? And where
I
is the
disavow
elbow
any
room?
knowledge of the elbow room.
Oh, do I not want to know what the elbow room is? All right.
If you know, you know.
All right.
No, it's just an establishment where people gather to socialize. And
Now, to be fair, the arena is
the
arena is like 40 minutes away from Miami, right? So
yeah, I think it feels like it's 40 minutes away from everything.
Yeah.
Craziest bus from hotel to arena is Florida. You get a police escort from the hotel, and you zip through standstill traffic on the bus. It is freaking crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy out there. The traffic is nuts.
Yeah.
Can't say that I've had either experience, either a police escort or the elbow room.
Well, if you're ever there, the elbow room is
Police
a good
escort.
establishment for bumping elbows.
But police escort to the elbow room is what you should have.
That is exactly what they should have.
I think that's reserved for a different level of Kings in play.
There probably are police at the elbow.
Right.
So we're in the second Florida-Edmonton Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
And last year, I think Zach probably got asked this the same amount of times as I did. As soon as Edmonton beat LA last year, I got people asking me, what if Edmonton goes on a run? Does that take any of the sting out of the loss? And last year I said, absolutely not. 0 sting removal. This year, seeing how easily Edmonton dispatched Dallas and Vegas, now it's their second trip to the final. All of a sudden I'm going like, well, maybe it stings a little less, just because they're obviously a really good team.
I'm the other way.
Yeah, I don't know.
really?
I don't know how that makes it. I can't believe I'm hearing you say this.
Same,
I'm a little. I'm also surprised.
Very surprised.
Yeah. Well, they're just obviously really good. I mean, so in Game 4 or 5, I guess, Florida was up 4-1 or something like that, and people were calling it over, and I was getting so upset and saying like, "What? Don't
Didn't
do
you watch
that."
the last game?
Yeah, like don't call it over.
Never count them out.
And then all of a sudden it's 4-2, and yes, Florida scored again, but you're just like, they're just never dead. I don't know.
That's the frustrating part about it. They're like a roach and radioactivity. Like they just won't go away.
It will not go away.
Yeah.
Not so. Just all right. Well,
I actually think it makes it sting more for me because the King, like, they had him, right?
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
We all know they had him, and now that just hurts more.
Don't get me.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess so. Jim Fox has been on the show a lot recently. We've been doing player evaluations. I recommend anybody go listen who hasn't. And you can hear the frustration in his voice.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because it constantly comes up, right? Because Edmonton's still playing. And I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the sting is just not knowing, like, oh man, what if? Like, because Edmonton did sort of dance through rounds 2 and 3, you go, oh well, how would the Kings have done?
There's a lot of what ifs going on. With game 3 and 4 of our series with Edmonton, and I want to know what is that official's name who missed that trip on like, what is his name? I want to follow him around and just with a picture of this trip.
Yeah.
And go, this is tripping. This is tripping. Even if it's 5 feet from your face, this is tripping.
Speaking of the Kings playoff series, and I should have probably fit this in after the awards show, you were on the Jumbotron. Like, you were part of the Kings playoff intro.
I got, again, someone was very fortunate and got asked to do that. So I'm very happy that I was asked to do that. Sean Tabler is I can honestly say, like, he's one of my best friends now. As Mikey Alexander likes to say.
Yeah. Well, listen, don't get as many best friends as Mikey has. Or your
everybody's his best friend.
But like, so how many times in the playoffs, you are doing the intro, it's an empty Crypto.com arena.
Yeah. And
then there's the smash cut to the live shot of you with the crowd behind you.
Right.
How many times did you have to rehearse that? Like, did you guys know that it would even work? Because it was awesome when it did work. It worked really well.
Honestly, that's all Sean and his crew and his people. Because he asked me if I'd do it. I was shooting a movie, and so I was like, I don't know if I'm able to make it. So then I got off the set and like rushed over, and then he's like, all right, so we're going to start here, we're going to go here, and we did it pretty quickly. I mean, it was like the arena was open, we were able to do it, and it wasn't like difficult or anything, but he knew it was going to work. He was like, this is going to be so cool. Watch. He goes, when this happens.
It was.
Yeah,
Really cool.
He was like dialed in. He had it all dialed in, and it was wild. Like, we rehearsed it, like, while I think you said, I heard you say that you heard us, but you didn't know that it was.
Well, because for those who don't know, they do a little tech rehearsal about an hour before the game actually starts.
Yeah.
I was in the building and I heard your voice. And I was trying to find you, and I couldn't. And I was like, and then when I saw it play, I was like, "Oh, it was obviously taped."
It was pretty cool. Like, and Sean was cool because he gave me. There's this one section of it. He gave me a little like freedom to kind of like add things different for each game and say a little something different to try to pump the crowd up and stuff. So, I did that. I just thought, like, why not? Get everybody into it, because the fans were like great all season. So why wouldn't they be great in the playoffs? Yeah.
I don't think I've heard pregame anything like 1 and 2. Like, obviously I wasn't here during the heyday, of the cups, but like 1 and 2 pregame was electric.
Yeah, I could feel that. Like, that was like something I've never been a part of, and I've been to a Rose Bowl, played in a Rose Bowl, and that's 100,000 people, but there's something about an enclosed arena when everyone's in unison, the vibration that kind of reverberates through the room, and that's what is that? That's before the harmonicas. You know what I mean?
I was just going to ask you, did you get to meet the harmonica lady?
I saw him walking in, but I didn't get to meet him. I saw him walking, and I was like, oh, who are these ladies?
Little did you know.
Yeah, I didn't know what they were there
Cinderella's
for. I was like,
playoffs.
oh, they got a group, and they want to go see a Kings game. Cool.
One thing, I think I probably harped on it a little bit too much, but I was genuinely surprised and impressed by the crowd at all 3 playoff games. I mean, I thought it was... it's been a while since the cup runs, so my memory might be a little bit faulty, but like, I thought it was on par, if not better than the start. Because I mean, the start of 2012 was against Vancouver, and nobody thought it was just like, all right, well, cool.
Right.
We made the playoffs again. And then 2014, obviously, you have the expectations already established. I don't know. This year, the crowd felt. I just thought it was really great crowd.
Everybody was amazing.
Yeah.
I think what happened though in our 3rd game at home was that I think people saw this Edmonton, what was going on, and they saw, they're like, all right, when are we going to wake up? When are these guys going to start playing harder? And it wasn't happening, and so people were just kind of like, I don't know where my, like, either saving it for a game 7 or like, I don't know where my energy is going to go right now. But I saw this kind of like, like someone turned the dial down.
But they were ready. Like, there were moments in I guess that was game 5.
Yeah.
When the moment was appropriate, they were ready to go.
Exactly.
There just weren't enough moments.
I can think of one moment when Kuzi, it was down toward where I'm seated. It's 116, like where it looked like he had an open net, and he just wasn't able to get it to Kopi. everybody just, you could hear it go like it was a collective like gasp, and it was like, oh, if this goes in, everybody's gonna erupt, and just like, oh.
Sometimes you can feel a crowd that's like on the verge of exploding.
Yeah,
and they want it so bad, and that's what it kind of felt like, was just waiting and waiting, and it just never came like the way that I think we all wanted it to.
Yeah,
and it just never got to that point of like the explosion.
It hurts. Like, I don't know if, I'm sure you guys are like this, but after those losses, you can't talk to me. I have a friend who is an Edmonton fan. If he texts me, like, I'm like, block. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to deal with like people or like real life almost sometimes. Like, I just want to let it just kind of wash over me, and so I can kind of approach the next day with a little.
The phrase I have zero patience for is, "It's only a game."
No.
And I'm like, no, it's obviously not.
No.
So
Right. Like,
so I understand what you're trying to say, and I will come to a more mature position given time, but you got to give me time. Like, I'm upset and go away.
My wife goes, but even like these finals, like I don't have a horse in the race, but even these finals, like I'm watching, and I don't want Edmonton to win so bad that I'm watching and my heart rate is going up, and I have an Apple Watch, so I like, she's like, but they're not, the Kings aren't even, like, what's going on with you? And I just like show her my, like, see the, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's wild,
I discovered I don't care who wins, but I care very much who loses, and it needs to be Edmonton.
Exactly. Exactly.
It could be Florida, it could be Tampa, it could be anybody.
Like,
my superstitions.
Watching some of these like second round series, like, I don't care who.
Right.
Like, I just want to. I want good hockey.
Yeah.
And in this series, it's like, let's go Panthers.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's and I'm just worried about tomorrow night. I'm just thinking about or game 5 or game 6, I should say. I just know Edmonton, when they come back from games, they come back with
They're a horror movie villain.
High level
big
hockey,
time,
right?
Big time.
Really good hockey too.
No, it's been. I asked Jim, and I'll ask you guys. Like, watching this series, I think most fans of most teams think to themselves, could my team hang in a series like this? Or who on the team could, like Adrian Kempe would fit in perfectly in a series like this. Either team, you go like, oh yeah, he's built for this. I watched the series and I'm like, could any of the 30 teams not in it hang in this series? Like, it's been really tough.
Good. It's like it's good, man. It's like just solid, good hockey. I said it on an interview. I said it's definitely going to go 7. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but it's definitely.
I also
go
hope
7.
you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you watch the Dallas Stars in the regular season, and I'm like, that might be the best team in the league that I'm watching, and they were not on the same ice as the Oilers.
Not at all.
I watched them play. I'm like, that's the best team in the league, and like they weren't all that competitive in that series.
I will say this though, I've never been a Pete DeBoer fan since he was in New Jersey, but I don't know. I just think the playoffs, like, I have yet to see him do something that I'm impressed with. That's all.
Well, this is, I don't think I've bothered Zach too much with this thought that I've been obsessed with all playoffs long, but like, take Pete DeBoer, for example, or in the NBA, Thibodeau, right? A guy who gets his team to a certain point, but never past that, right? Like, I think DeBoer is like, 6 times to the conference finals or
7
something.
years, right?
Yeah. So you're like, is that a good coach or is that a bad coach? Because I would argue that's a great coach. The fact that he's never won seems to be the part that everybody's fixating on. But if you're Buffalo and you haven't been to the playoffs since who knows when, like, wouldn't you happily take a conference finals appearance?
I would say he's a good coach, but him being a great coach would take him to that next level. I would say he's a very good coach. But he's not a great coach, because a great coach will just get it done.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Chris Knobloch's a great coach.
I hope not.
Who was their coach before? I forget his name. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name.
Jay Woodcroft.
Yes, Woodcroft. Like, I feel bad for because I feel like he had that team like humming, like, but for whatever reason they needed a scapegoat. Him and Campbell.
Yeah, well, he and I'm trying. It was
Poor
that.
dude.
Who's the other team that keeps going through coaches once every year and a half? So I'm blanking on this now, but there's
Rangers.
No,
Minnesota.
They had Gallant. They had Laviolette.
Oh, maybe it's also the Rangers.
And
but
they're the
but there are
Wild,
some teams
sure.
that just like, oh, it's Vancouver. That's what I was thinking of.
Vancouver, yeah.
Then they had Talkett. Now he's gone, and you're just like, all right, there's just
Bruce Boudreau.
Yeah.
Travis Green. They got Adam Foote. Yeah.
And it's just over the course of like 4 or 5 seasons, they'll have X amount of coaches. And at that point, you just go like, all right, well, what's happening?
Organization. That's their organization. I mean,
when the Kings named Holland the 10th GM in team history, I was talking to John Hoven about it, and we both had the same reaction, which is like, really? Just 10?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't.
It should be double, right?
Yeah, it seems like it should be way more than that, but only 10. Okay.
These guys, I mean, I have the utmost confidence in the Kings organization. I always think that they always make the right decisions. And I think sometimes the fans get a little bit antsy with their decisions, but I think that if it's because of the world we live in. Like everything has to happen now. Like gratification, you need this. You got to post now. You got to get this. Like hockey's not like sports isn't like that. You need to let something like germinate for a little while to become like to gel.
There's also, and I've had way too much free time on my hands lately, and I've been spending way too much time fighting with fans on different platforms. There's also, and this is the weird thing about the playoffs, is like playoffs happen over the course of years, right? We're talking about the Kings losing to Edmonton 4 years in a row. It took 4 years for that to happen, but it happened in less than 40 games, less than 30 games, I think. I haven't done the math lately, but like. Because when it happens quickly. It feels you sort of forget the fact that an entire year has gone by.
Yeah,
and you start reacting in this sort of very short term way when like I said, we're talking about years.
100%. You know what's funny is when you said that, I always last year when they beat us, I thought to myself, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna get in the middle of the next year's season, and I'm just gonna be thinking like, yeah, but playoffs. I never thought that once. And when we got to the first round, I the only thing on my mind was like these guys can do it. Like this is the team that can do it. But I always buy in though, man. I'm a homer. I'll buy into everything.
What's the point of being a fan if you're not going to buy in?
Yeah, like McClellan. When he became coach, I was like, yes. Even though he was in San Jose, I'm like, of course he's going to do it. You know what I mean? Like Ken Holland, yes. Like I anything they do, I'm going to agree with.
So you're obvious. I mean, I don't feel like we need to prove your fan bona fides, but I was watching Cross.
Oh.
And I found that I couldn't do it because I know you.
Yeah.
So every time you're on screen, I'm like, I wonder what he's thinking about right now. Like, I wonder what he's like, did the director say this, that, or the other thing? And then also Aldis, I was telling Zach about this earlier this morning. I can't help it. I still see him as Ray Voodoo Tatum from Friday Night Lights.
Oh, wow.
Even though he was on like 3 episodes or something.
Wow.
He just has like a very unique, intense look about him.
Yeah, he does.
So I'm watching the show, and like if he's on screen, I'm like, well, that's Hawkman. And if you're on screen, I'm like, hey, it's Isaiah. And I'm totally taken out of the moment. Do you ever have that when you're watching sports? If you know different people or know them personally or coaches or people behind the scenes, Sean, me, Zach, all these people. Does it make it any more or less difficult to emotionally connect to these events?
No, not for me. I try to leave you guys alone when you're doing your work. Like I firmly believe like I try not to make eye contact with players. I'm like when they're playing, I'm not trying to be friendly. I'm like letting them even in the tunnel when I see them like after the game or whatever, I'll just be like nice guy. I mean, Kobe's a little different because he's super friendly and very like just like normal and hey, how's it going? How's your family? Whatever. But anybody else, I'll just say great game, way to go. That's it. I won't try to engage in conversation because I always feel like I don't want to jinx anything that may be set up. You know what I mean? So I try to leave them alone as best I can. Off season's different. If I see somebody, I'll talk. but I try to leave let the professionals be professionals.
So you never have to be like really disappointed after a loss and then pretend like it's okay.
No,
that would be the challenge for me.
There was only one time where we lost against Nashville, and Dustin Brown was giving me his 1,000th game jersey because I bid on it and won it.
Wow, humble brag.
I didn't. He didn't give it to me. I had to bid on it. You know what I mean? I paid for it.
Also a humble.
Yeah.
I hope the NHL Awards paid well.
But I did get it.
Yeah.
Got it.
But we lost to Nashville, so I felt this weird feeling of like, okay, you just lost, but yet you're giving me something that's so cool that I can't contain my elation, So I actually gave him a pair of socks that I gave you earlier today.
I got a pair of socks.
Not a big deal. Right?
That's my humble brag.
Yeah.
1,000th game worn Dustin Brown jersey.
Yeah.
Pair of socks.
Pair of Isaiah Mustafa socks.
Used or unused?
Unused.
Unused. Yeah.
That's good, yeah.
No 1,000 wears.
So are you? I mean, is this? You've done all the stuff for the Kings in the playoffs. You've hosted the NHL awards show. Are you looking to expand? We were talking about Mikey Alexander. He's doing something. I forget. I've already forgotten the name of the tournament now. Are you looking to? You've obviously got a background in sports. Are you looking to become like a sportsy actor? It's not really a phrase.
I know what you're saying though. Yeah. A sportsman. Yeah. I would actually love to do that. The one thing I do worry about though is being oversaturated with a particular fandom that starts with K. I just don't. I don't want the King fans to be like, all right, enough of this guy. You know what I mean? So I would like to be very respectful with any kind of working with the Kings, but of course if they ask me to do it, I'm gonna be like, yeah. But yeah, I would love to work with the NHL. In a bigger capacity. I'm trying to do that now, so we'll see what happens. I used to think that when I wasn't able to do the NHL awards or whatever, I'd be like, man, I'm not working right now. I'm not acting right now. I'm like, my profile's low. So let me like boost my profile up a little bit more just so that I can get these NHL or Kings jobs. That's what I think. I think like, well, they can't say Isaiah Mustafa on cross. They can just say like, hey, it's the guy from the Old Spice commercial that isn't on right now. So, for me, I like the fact that if I have something going on like cross, that it helps, put me out there for the NHL or for the Kings.
I frequently still have that fear that people might wake up one day and say enough of this guy.
Yeah.
I can say from personal experience, I don't think it's likely to happen. You're a particularly likable guy.
I wake up most days thinking.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't know if you've had this experience or you, but like, I've been a Kings fan for a very long time, and I would be lying if I said there weren't people that were at different points in the franchise's history, affiliated broadcasters, hosts, whoever it was, where I was just like, okay, like really, like I got to watch this.
Okay, yeah, I agree though.
And so, but I mean, I always feel like I know for a fact there are people out there who don't like me, and I've said it a number of times. Like for those people, I'm sorry, I'm not going anywhere. So it's a bummer that your fandom has to include me, but it does. So I don't think you'll have to worry about that.
I appreciate it, but I think if there are people who do not like you, I think it's because you're honest. Like you're not, you know what I mean? You're unapologetically honest about what's going on.
I've been told that.
You know what I mean? But and I think they may want to hear a version of that, or like a one-sided version of what is being said.
Shockingly, the people who don't like me is not because they think I'm sugarcoating things or whatever. It's just because they don't like me, which is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, listen, nobody bats 1,000. It is what it is.
They might want to be on. They might want to have their own podcast. Who knows? You know. I like what you do, and
I appreciate it.
And I actually came like when I first heard you before, like I didn't like, not you personally, but I didn't like your take. And then I listened like deeper, and I was like, well, no, wait a second, hold on, let me listen to his take. And then I grew to understand like where you were coming from, and now I appreciate it more than anything because I'm like, you're just straightforward. You're, like I said, you're unapologetic.
I've found that. Did you ever see? Have we talked about Fever Pitch, the Fallon Drew Barrymore movie?
I heard you talk about it.
Okay, so it came out during the lockout season when like the league was gone.
Yeah,
and I had kind of reached a point where I was like, you know what, I'm over it. This is silly. If they're going to cancel a season, Kings hadn't. I think they'd won one playoff round since 1993. At that point, I was like, fine, whatever, I'm done. But then I saw that movie, and I was like, oh, you know what? It's more about the fans and the community and the whole thing. And I've just found that Kings fans, especially in Southern California, maybe it's different in different markets, if you love the Kings, and you obviously do, I think that's what people react to, right? They want somebody who's in their corner.
Yeah.
Even if they don't, we may all not agree on like who's the best player on the team.
Sure.
Someone will say this person, someone will say that person. But at least it's someone you can have a conversation with. Whereas if you meet somebody who doesn't like hockey, what do we got to talk about? The weather? Like,
yeah. You know what I like when I'm talking to somebody and they go, oh yeah, no, I watch the Kings, and then within like 30 seconds of the conversation, I understand their level of where they're at, and I'm like, oh, but you don't understand where I'm at. Like I'm on this crazy level of fanaticism that I can't even explain to you. Like I don't even know what it means or where it came from.
I have King's grocery bags from the 2012 Cup run.
Yeah.
And every now and then a cashier will be like, oh, yeah, the Kings. Yeah, they're great. Didn't they just win the cup a couple years ago? And I'm like, no.
No, it's been 11
No, it's been a while.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding.
Yeah, thanks for watching. But no.
I got this thing I want to pitch you. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you guys this thing because this is my idea for expanding.
You're telling all of them too, by the way.
I'm
Just
expanding the game. This is my idea.
All right.
And my buddy thinks that the reason why hockey isn't as popular on TV. Because we can all, like, nobody will doubt that you bring someone to a Kings game immediately. Mm-hmm. They understand how amazing the game. Like, there's no, like, they're a fan. Like, they're in. But people on TV don't get it because they don't see the speed. They don't see it from certain angles. So my idea was we need a couple new camera angles. All right. Well, hold on. Hear me out. Jesse's already like,
I'm already halfway out.
Get him out of the studio. To show the speed. All right. Now, my idea is this: to put a camera or several cameras placed that are on a track, that run on a track, so they strafe with a player at speed inside the boards. So it's right at kind of hip level, and it's inside. So like you would have a plexiglass,
okay.
And it would
I'm back in.
it would go inside the board, like it wouldn't take anything away from anyone, watching the game. It would just have to be something that the boards were constructed like. And I think that would show the true speed of the game at certain moments. You could cut to it, cut away, but you'd see how fast somebody was going, Because in football, you can see speed because you can see somebody separate, or whatever. Baseball, same thing. You see somebody rounding the bases, whatever. Basketball, you can see ability, But in hockey, it's just hard to see that true speed because it looks like this kind of karmic flow of things, and it kind of moves together. But if you see somebody breaking away, people would be like, oh, wow, that's amazing, So I'm
on board.
Yeah.
One of my favorite angles is if they've ever, it doesn't usually happen in the NHL, but sometimes like a KHL or lower league, the refs will have a cam.
Oh yeah.
And so you'll see the play from the perspective of the official, and they're right there and they're skating alongside these guys.
In the last World Cup of Hockey.
Okay.
I remember when I worked in the ECHL, we could do that.
Yeah.
Not live because it was the ECHL. We don't have that kind of technology, but it's sick when you could cut to that live. Yeah. I would watch an alt cast of exactly what you just described.
Yeah. I want to
try it out as an alt cast. You get it right. Yeah. And then you work it in.
That's what I'm thinking. A lot of tech to build in for a trial run.
But that's
true.
Somebody can make money off of that.
Cap's
tech,
going up.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough.
HRR.
Yeah. Try it.
You guys got these RoboCams. It's the same. It's the same thing. We'll just put these down.
I thought you were going to say like the I forget what it's called, but the overhead camera that they introduced in the NFL after the XFL.
Like kick returns?
Yeah, because I actually really love that view.
I love that view too. I fear that would get in the way. Because the puck would pop up, and then you got a problem. But if it's inside the,
I'm sure the insurance is probably a nightmare too because you're hanging it over a bowl. Whereas in an NFL stadium, you've got
scoreboard level where it's like it goes through the scoreboard on that little like.
You guys have amazing. Listen. If there's a tech guy out there, I don't want credit for this. Just go build it. Go make it.
Done.
It can be yours. You know what I mean? Like you can be the one.
Listen, the Zamboni is named after a guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Who lived in California. So,
Mustafa Cam.
Mustafa.
There you go.
Cam.
The Isaiah Cam, or I am Cam.
There we go.
There you go. There's my initials, Cam. You can do it. I'm telling you. I don't want anything for it. I just want to see it. There you go. Okay, then my pitch.
Listen, you convinced me.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm
if you can convince him.
The only flaw I can see it, and it's not one that I care about, but because they have the digital boards, you might be theoretically sacrificing a lot of revenue to put the camera in the boards. But I'm sure there's ways around that.
You could move around it,
or just put it on the dash.
Put it on the non-TV side.
It'd just be glass. It'd be like the plexiglass. So you would just be like a small little window that went all the way around.
And you should tell fans if you tamper with the camera.
Yeah, just
straight to jail.
You'll be
but it'd be in the board. So I think that what would have to happen is you have to back those seats up just a little bit. And again,
I love it.
Yeah,
I'm 100%.
Sorry,
unless we're gonna strap 11 GoPros to the officials.
Yeah.
But I think we should have one less official on the ice anyway. So that's all.
Look, if they can make an iPhone, they can do
two
this.
less. I don't know.
Oh. I've worked in the ECHL with 3, and it is a zoo.
I mean, the league operated with 3 for almost a century. Anyway,
officiating. Are we going to talk about that?
No, no, we're not. No. I know you've got to go. We appreciate your time. I think we're going to wrap up there. Zach, thanks for joining us as
I have
always.
one more for him, though.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Do you armchair GM at home?
Yes.
One move you'd like to see the Kings make this summer.
Sam Bennett.
Sam Bennett.
Any price limit?
Sam Bennett.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
All right.
He's a dog, and the Kings need some dogs.
Man, game changer.
I had Jim on the show recently, and Sam Bennett's name came up. And Jim said, I think everybody in the league knew his value. And I said, well, I can think of one person who didn't. And it's the person who traded him.
True.
He was obviously
wrong. It's all about location, though, too. You know, and LA is a great place. It's an amazing.
It is a great place.
For hockey players. It is probably it's a prime destination. You know, but hey, they're again.
From your lips to the hockey god's ears, everybody look for the Isaiah cam coming soon. Isaiah Mustafa, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate
You got it. Anytime, man. Love you guys.